Ahoy! Well, as I may have said in an earlier episode, this old boat is the gift that keeps on giving. And now what I'm dealing with is the diesel tank. So there it is, uncovered. It's a 17-gallon tank and it has gunk in it. It keeps coming through my primary fuel filter, like this gray goo, and I gotta, change out filters. So it's like, you know what? I should just clean out the tank because I'm not going anywhere this summer for various reasons. And of course, when I laid the boat up, you can see I'm still in the boatyard here. I filled up the diesel tank, which is what you're supposed to do to prevent condensation. But now I gotta siphon out, about 18 gallons and dispose of it. I talked to the boatyard about that. And also, there's a smell, and it looks like there's a leak. This is the fuel gauge, and there's some there's some diesel. It's got a little bit of a leak, so I'm gonna have to repair this as well. Take this out and rebed it. And then this is the vent. This is the fuel supply and the return lines. I think I need to change these lines too because they're kind of ragged. And then this is the inspection port. And so that doesn't seem to be leaking, so that's good. But this fuel gauge needs to be rebedded because it's making. You can't really smell it unless you take these covers off. But that's something I need to fix as well. Now getting the fuel out of this tank is going to be interesting because there's the filler cap, and so the line, the hose comes down through the hanging locker. See that? It kind of makes that little curve, and then it comes out here, and then there's this sharp elbow. Let's see. Yeah, there's a sharp elbow here. So, and I got this siphon kit, like this little pump here, but it only came with like 4 feet of hose. So that's not going to be enough. So I got this. So I took a foot of it and I cut an angle at the end so that maybe it'll help me get it like around that curve and particularly around that elbow. And then I also got this. So this is like vinyl hose, this clear hose, and then I got some polyethylene hose, which is a lot stiffer. And so as I'm trying to shove this thing down into the diesel fill, it should help maybe guide this. That's the idea anyway. And it's a 25-foot hose, so I gotta cut some of that because it's too long. But first I gotta see how much of this I need to get down into the tank to get a siphon draw. So that's my plan. Just a couple more notes about this hose, because I'm going to be working blind, shoving this thing down the hose, down the filler hose. I took a Sharpie and I marked each foot of line so that I can have an idea of how much I've put down. Because I think maybe I'll need about 6 feet before the end will get into the tank. Although I marked it to 8 feet because I was on a roll. So that way, because I'm going to be shoving it down, it's going to stop, and I'm going to have to back it up and maybe turn it and then put it shove it down some more, and then if I get a little bit further, I want to be able to kind of gauge that to help encourage me that I'm making some progress. By the way, this is 3/8 inch inner diameter, both of these tubes. You know, so I bought the siphon kit, and it's 1/2 inch outer diameter, it's 3/8 inner diameter, and so I also got a 3/8 inch, you know, kind of hose connector with the, you know, hose barbs on each side to connect the two things, and those are pretty tight on there. I wasn't actually able to get the vinyl all the way on there. Maybe I could if I worked at it somewhere, but I think that's on there pretty secure. I mean, the only thing I'm concerned about is pulling it back out, it getting snagged on something, and then like this coming off. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm going to open up the tank anyway, so even if that does happen, I can retrieve this. So, all right, details. Well, it's a few days later, and I managed to siphon about 15 gallons of fuel out of the tank, and I gave it to my neighbor, who has a diesel, and looked at it and said, looks pretty clean to me. And yeah, you can see the tank, the fuel gauge is on empty, so there's still another couple of gallons in the tank here. Now it's time to crack this can. So there's my opening. I'm gonna see what's inside this tank. All right, so I've got the hatch off. See, there it is. And let's see if we can take a look down inside. It looks pretty clean. And there's 2 baffles in it. So there's really not a whole lot of dirt. Just kind of scan it around like that so I can get a look then. Without getting any diesel on the camera, I hope. Alright, so I just sort of put the lid back on there to keep the smell down, but the tank looks pretty clean. And yeah, there's a baffle. There's 2 baffles. And when I took the first screw out, I noticed this hiss, like air, like there was air pressure inside the tank, oddly enough. Now I had sealed it, I put the lid back on after I siphoned it, but that tells me that this vent, you know, this is again this long vent line. This vent line's probably, you know, at least 12 feet long. It probably has a clog in it. So I am going to have to take this vent line off, clean it out, and maybe do some more alterations to get better tank venting. Now the gauge has to come off. And I've marked at the top here with these red marks, kind of on the tank, on this ring, and on the gauge itself, kind of to make sure that when I put it back in, it'll be oriented correctly. Alright, so I'm not really quite sure what, like, these, I mean, you know, it's held on by these screws, but then you got this nut here for some reason, and then these 2 screws, and then this screw that either hold the gauge on or do something else. So I'm just making notes here so that I can reverse anything that I do here. Alright, I got the screws out of the fuel gauge, and note there are 5 screws, not 6. And now let's lift it out. Oh, that's a kind of gunky. Alright, so there's the fuel gauge. And basically it's a simple float. And you can see, you know, when it's straight down, it registers on E. And then as the level rises, it swings up. And then when it's all the way up, it's on full. So that's pretty foolproof.